Hi, welcome to Live and Local. My name is Gary Sanders, and the topic tonight is the school bond referendum, which takes place on February 11th for the voters of the Iowa City School District. With me tonight for our discussion in the next half hour, on my far right, Sarah Swisher, co-chair of Yes for Kids. Next to her, Tim Borchardt, chairman of Hawks, the group that is formed in opposition. Coy Marquardt, teacher at Southeast Junior High School, and Brie, a student at SHAC, the Student Alternative Center. Okay, we'll be taking your phone calls a little bit later. First, I just want to show you the ballot that is available now for people to vote before the 11th of February. And there will also be satellite voting sites as we get a little closer. It's probably going to be a low turnout. It is the middle of winter. But whatever way you vote, we do encourage you to get out there and vote. This is about a $39 million bond referendum for the Iowa City schools. Why don't we start a discussion with Sarah explaining a little bit about what the $39 million is for, why are we having the election now, and anything else in a couple minutes that you want to start off with, Sarah, and then we'll just take it from there.
Thanks a lot, Carrie. The $39 million bond referendum is the result of 3 years of study of the needs of students, kids in the Iowa City Community School District, hence the name Yes for Kids. Examining these needs and trends in education and addressing pretty severe overcrowding, some need to meet ADA accessibility issues in all of the high schools, and recognizing that there was a need to improve the facilities for all the children in the district. The school board of directors came up with this plan. It calls for, to ease overcrowding in the northern parts of the school district, a new junior high school and an elementary school on a campus near North Liberty. It calls for building classrooms, a large number of classrooms and improvements in both City High and West High School to help ease the crowding issues there and remove temporary facilities that have been there for decades, and I have many of my peers who've attended classes in those temporary buildings, and then also a new freestanding alternative high school in the eastern part of Iowa City. It also addresses overcrowding in 5 elementary schools that have had problems with dealing with large crowding at lunch and in gymnasium times, building some multi-purpose rooms. So that's the plan kind of in a nutshell. It's something that our Citizens Committee, Yes for Kids, is extremely proud of and happy to be supporting, and we found really broad support in the community, business, labor, completely nonpartisan support, and we're delighted with all the help we've been receiving from volunteers and community leaders.
How much money are we talking about? Let's say, what's always bandied about is if you own a $100,000 home.
Well, it's an easy one to do the math on, and I think the net increase is $32. Now that's is something we occasionally get called on, because it's actually $64 annually tax on a $100,000 home. But the current bond that we have now in place, and most school districts have a bond going at all times, would be retired in June of this year. So the net increase is the $32 annually. Really, when you think about it, it's the cost of about a Happy Meal, a kid's meal a month to most taxpayers in our, maybe 2 kids' meals for most taxpayers in our school district.
And the final thing before I get to Tim, who is the other co-chair of your group?
Well, I'm real happy to say it's my new friend, Charlie Funk. Somebody I was merely acquainted with before this bond referendum. He's president and CEO of Iowa State Bank. So he's the business side, I'm the labor side. I'm affiliated with SEIU, and we've really made a great team, and I'm proud of the way this campaign has been moving forward.
And SEIU is?
Service Employees International Union. We represent the nurses and other healthcare professionals at the University of Iowa, and also the workers in the Iowa City Community School District.
Okay. And your co-chair is a little different philosophically on
A little different.
politics.
We see eye to eye on this.
Okay. All right. Tim, why did your group Hawks form? And maybe first you can tell us what the acronym stands for and some of your concerns.
Hawks is having accountable, worthy kids' schools. And it actually formed when we started, or I started looking into the school bond issue. First, I will say that I've not met anybody that believes that there aren't some needs for our school system. So in that facet, we're in agreement with the Yes Committee that there are improvements that need to be made. Where our point of contention is that we honestly don't believe that the Yes Committee's done its homework, nor do we believe that the entire picture has been presented to the citizenry of the school district. First of all, this plan was formulated when a parent from each district, each school in the community was brought together, and they were given guidance by the school board. Their recommendations were taken, and then the school board made its plan. Then another part of the project was a board member going around to the various schools and talking with the principals and asking them for a wish list. That's how another $2.5 million got tacked onto this bond. But the thing that really started us asking questions, and the more questions we asked, the more questions we had, was they talk about overcrowding and continued enrollment. Well, this year, in fact, the Iowa City school districts lost students, and that was 13 or 14 students. But the kicker is that it was 100 students less than their actual projections. We were unable to project 1 year out.
And when you say whose actual projections?
Well, the projections, the Yes Committee uses a person from the University of Iowa, and his name eludes me at this point, but there's also available statistics from the state of Iowa. Mm-hmm. And the point I'm trying to make is that we were unable to even accurately predict 1 year ahead of time the growth of the Iowa City school districts. And at that, how are we supposed to project 5 years out? Mm-hmm. The growth for schools has been flat, and it's projected based on their projections.
Since when has it been flat?
The last 5 years, we've gained about 150 students.
Mm-hmm. And you would consider that flat?
Yes, I would consider it fairly flat. And the projections through 2006 and 2007, I believe, is that we're estimated to gain 51 students. But at this point, that was including a 100-person projection for this year.
Mm-hmm. Now, I have a brochure from the district that the enrollment was a little bit over 10,400 school year 96-97, and 5 years later it was up to 10,000, almost 800. So in the last 5 years we had an increase of approximately 350 students, and I'm not quite clear whether your argument is with it seems to me a fact that we're growing, or the financing mechanism, or whether some people were left out of the decision process. Is there one particular thing?
It's all of the above.
All of the above. So you
can we agree at least that this year our school enrollment went down? And I do have certified enrollments from the state. I don't have them in my shirt pocket, but I do have those available. I'll be happy to provide them to anyone.
Coy, what is it? You're a teacher at Southeast Junior High School. What is the situation over there? Do you feel like you're overcrowded, or is there plenty of room?
Currently at Southeast, we have adequate space, but you also notice that Southeast isn't really where the focus of overcrowding has been, and that's not really where the focus of the bond issue is going. As a teacher at Southeast, I understand that the overcrowding that's happening and the need for more room as far as the new schools goes is in the northern part of the district. And currently at Southeast, we don't have huge overcrowding problems. I do want to point one thing out. The Yes for Kids committee is not in the business of projections of enrollment. The Yes for Kids committee was not in on the original what the school board decided to do. The Yes for Kids committee is a group of citizens who came together and saw the need and the importance of promoting quality education in the district and in the community.
Were you part of that committee?
Yeah, I do. I am involved in the committee as a supporter of the bond. Yes.
Mm-hmm. What about I assume you have friends who teach in some of these overcrowded schools.
Mm-hmm.
What is the situation like at City and West in particular, and the other junior high school, Northwest?
Well, temporary buildings. I mean, that's the major situation. We've had temporary buildings for decades, 2 decades in these schools. City High also has problems with accessibility, which they're trying to address. Northwest they had to add new temporaries this year. They had a little theater at Northwest that had to be divided into classrooms in the past few years because of the severe overcrowding on the west side of town. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Brie, you're a student at the alternative high school. What's the situation there? Did you go to either of the other high schools, by the way, before?
Yes, I attended West High my freshman and sophomore year, and then moved to the Senior High Alternative Center for my junior year.
Mm-hmm. How was the overcrowding at West when you were there?
I thought it was very crowded. The classes were really big. I know there's maybe 25 students in a class, if not more, in some classes, less in some other classes, but I thought it was pretty crowded, which makes it, for me, more difficult to learn.
Mm-hmm. A lot of bumping and shoving in the hallways?
Yes, a lot of bumping and shoving.
Mm-hmm. And what is your interest in this bond issue being at the alternative high school?
I think it's very important, the bond issue, and I think it'd be very important for it to be passed for a couple reasons. One being that we don't have we have an older library.
Where are you located, by the way? Where is the, many people that are watching tonight probably have no idea where the alternative high school is.
It's on the top floor of the administration building.
Okay, the old Sabin School.
Yes.
Okay, just below south of the post office.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And how many students are there?
I think 75 maybe.
Okay, and what would this bond issue mean to the alternative high school?
It would mean a new school, which would hopefully mean a gymnasium, possibly.
You have no gym.
Nope, we have no gym. We don't have a cafeteria.
You have no cafeteria. What do you do for lunch?
We eat in a table in the hallway. We have a small kitchen. We don't have a place to do any lab work or science activities, really. There's a science room, but not any equipment or just enough room, really, to do a science experiment.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, and how much more room would there be? This new facility, how big do you think that would be for how many students? Did you say something, Sarah, about what that would? How many?
I believe it's up to 200. I think we're looking at 200 on that. I'm not exactly sure on that number.
All right. Well, and that's what motivated you to contact me about being on the show, was because you want to see a new facility for the alternative high school.
I think it'd be wonderful.
It is kind of incredible that there's no cafeteria or gymnasium.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys have no place to play basketball, or?
No, we walk down to the rec center and play down there.
In the winter?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Mm-hmm. Sarah, did you have something to say, or you were kind of looking over here?
Well, I just had a couple things I wanted to add to Tim's comments here, and I think you did a good job of putting light on the actual enrollment increases over the last 5 years. I hope people are considering that 300, an increase of over 300 kids in the last 5 years, that's a school. That's an elementary school right there. And I think the other thing that we're interested in emphasizing in the campaign is is less about projected enrollment into the future and more about the overcrowding that exists right now in schools like Northwest and Coralville Central and Penn Elementary. So, and if I might just add on to that, it also having an impact on this overcrowding issue is a transition that most of us who are parents, and I have a 10-year-old at Longfellow Elementary School, and she was one of the first kids that attended all-day kindergarten. Now, all-day kindergarten is has been made a priority by the citizens in this community. We know that early childhood education leads to greater success in life, and that brain growth in the early years is vitally important. So most people are widely supportive of all-day kindergarten, but it did cause an increase in the number of classroom spaces.
Well, we had
needed.
about 500 empty seats, and then we started adding all-day kindergarten, and now we've got about 250 available seats around the district. They've hit on it correctly. Excuse me, I got to make this point,
Yeah, sure.
that we are moving from the east to the west side. In 1995, Southeast Junior High had about 825 or 50 people. It's projected in 2005-06 to be down to about 600. They list the grade school that's overcrowded in the Northwest, but they fail to list the four that are under capacity and one that has an ability to expand on. The YES Committee had an opportunity to include in its flyers this year's data that was available on September 15th, saying that we were showing a decrease in enrollment this year, but they failed to do that.
Let me take one call, Tim. We have our first call, and then possibly we'll get back. We'll see if I can handle this properly. It's always my weak point. Hi, you're on Live and Local.
Thanks, Gary. I'd just like to say
And could you identify yourself, or?
yeah, my name is Greg. I live out in Johnson County.
Okay.
And I'd just like to say that as someone who's privileged enough to own property in the finest county in Iowa, I'd be glad to pay the $30 or so per year in property tax that it would cost me to support our educational system. That's about the cost of one dinner out, and I think those who are equally privileged and who won't pay that cost should be ashamed of themselves. We're either going to finance our school district through the sales tax or the property tax. Sales tax has already been rejected. It's a regressive tax that affects the poor more than the rich. The property tax will fall more heavily on those who can afford to pay it, as it should be, those property owners who have benefited from renting out their properties in Iowa City. And I think I'd just like to urge all people to support this bond referendum and vote for the levy.
All right, thanks for your call. One thing I wanted to say, that this whole kind of disagreement about whether we're growing or not, it brings to mind when I first came here 25 years ago, and I was substitute teaching at Central Junior High School. And believe it or not, yes, indeed, you might have been one of my students.
I wonder if I
yeah.
had you. I was in about the last class there.
And, you know, they were saying that we were in a declining enrollment, and we wound up selling that property to Mercy Hospital. And here we are, 20 years later. And I think that the last 5 years have shown an increase. The last overall 20 years have shown an increase. We are one of the few districts in the country that, as of June, will have no bond indebtedness at all. And I find it basically incomprehensible. We're talking, I think, about needs for today, Tim. Not so much arguing about even the future. When they're talking about, that we have these kids going to an alternative high school with no cafeteria, no gymnasium. I've been in the schools.
Gary, have you seen the comprehensive capital project plan for the facilities, the blueprint of what we're going to do and how we're going to move forward? I haven't.
Okay.
I don't think there is one.
Well, did you get a copy of this brochure by any chance? This is available, by the way, at the school district office. I'm sure anybody can call there at
I've been on that webpage.
688-1000. I would say go to their website, but I'm not really, I suppose I should say that, even though I don't know how to do that. It's Sarah, maybe you could say, do you know the website?
Well, I don't know it.
It's http://www.iccSD.k12.ia.us.
line.
I say call 688-1000 and have them call. All right, hang on, we got a phone call. Hi, you're on Live and Local.
Hi. My parents were both teachers, and so I learned some of the value of valuing education when the taxpayers didn't feel it was necessary. But I guess I also developed a new theory of economics that we tend to value the most critical things in life the least, and the least critical things in life the most. We value air and water and educate and soil and light and care for our children the least, and gold and diamonds and oil the most.
Did you have a question about the school bond referendum?
Well, I ask the taxpayers to value the invaluable.
Okay, well, thank you very much for your call.
Well,
Okay. One point that I wanted to make in response to one of the letters in the paper, I had a very interesting conversation with somebody on your committee, Tim, Jeff. What's his last name again?
McDowell, I believe.
Yeah, McDowell. And one of the points that he made, it says, another tactic is not putting this on the ballot during the general election last year. Sarah, would you like to respond to that?
Well, I think there was a very clear reason, although I think it probably would have helped the Yes for Kids committee to have it on the ballot during the general election. It was a very large turnout election, and we have a broad base of support. But it's illegal. So, you can't have school initiatives on the same ballot as general elections.
Yeah, that's in the Iowa Code.
I don't know the code citation, but
Chapter 47.6. So I hope nobody out there is thinking that something funny is going on because of that. Coy, do you live in the district, by the way?
I do, yes.
I don't mean to pull a surprise on you
That's
because
all
I
right.
hadn't.
I live on the southeast side of Iowa City.
Okay. Now, do you have any neighbors that are elderly? Because we often hear that the elderly on fixed incomes will have a hard time with this.
No, I actually don't, no. To
Okay.
answer your question.
All right. The median assessed valuation in this district is $148,000. So we are talking a little bit more than this total of $62 a year, starting in June. Hang on, another call, I believe. Hi, you're on Live and Local.
Hi, my name is Georgia, and I'm a student at Northwest Junior High. And I'm just calling to verify the fact that our school is really overcrowded. And sometimes I'm walking in the halls, and there's just a whole mob of students, and there's no movement, and we're all late to class.
Well, that's not good. Is it because of all these big backpacks, or?
No, we're not allowed to carry backpacks.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's too crowded.
So I take it you're in favor of this referendum.
Yes.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for calling.
Thank you.
Bye now.
Bye.
Well, Tim, we don't have much time here. Would there, if do you deny that there's overcrowding, or is it, you
No,
see
my-
us declining in the future, or?
My complaints or concerns right at this moment is we put together a plan without professional space analysts, okay? The plan is flawed. We have an opportunity at this point in time, as you said, we are retiring our debt. So we have an opportunity to do this right.
Are
Yeah.
you in favor of any taxes in general?
What I would support is a professional analysis of our school districts, putting a dollar value on those needs, and a sales tax that would support those, that would retire.
I thought it was interesting. One of the letters that was most interesting to me was in today's paper by Mike Thayer, a Republican conservative, who was on my show many years ago, who was in favor of this. And it seems to me there is this broad cross-section. I was quite honestly surprised that we had, the president of the bank, a Republican, as a co-chair with the trade union person. How big is your group, Tim?
Oh, we've got about 10 to 15 activists. We started after the first of the year. We have nowhere near the financial support that the Yes people have, and that's A-okay. There's questions that we have that we would like to answer. We want to give the best possible education to the students of Iowa City Community School Districts.
And you're going to have another opportunity, I believe, Wednesday night at
Correct.
the League of Women Voters Forum. What is the time and place on that, by the way?
That's 7 to 8:30, Coralville City Hall.
Okay, let's just take one more call and then maybe a quick wrap-up from any of you who want to say anything. Hi, you're on Live and Local.
Hi, my name's Roberta, and I represent an elderly couple in Iowa City. We're very much in favor of the school bond. Thank you for having this show.
Elderly, is that over 60, over 70?
Our children are all out of school, and our child, but we think it's very important that education is what Iowa City is all about.
All right, thank you very much. I thought it was interesting, Roberta Patrick, who's in her 80s, who wrote a letter, was on the school board in the 60s. All right, we have about 25 seconds. Does anybody have anything that's just dying to get out, especially Brie or Coy, who didn't get much time here tonight? Anything. I'll let you guys wrap it up.
I would just like to say I think it's very important because it would give other students who need alternative education the chance to succeed.
Okay.
If they get the chance to be in the alternative center.
Coy, anything? Last thoughts?
I just encourage everyone to vote on the 11th.
All right. Thanks so much for joining us tonight on Live and Local. This program will be rebroadcast several times before the election, February 11th, and you can vote before that, either at the auditors or in several satellite sites coming up. Thanks for joining us.